When I was going to college, I worked as a deputy sheriff and spent several years doing that before I got into the hardware business. So I've got a pretty good background from a law enforcement perspective. I had the benefit of being able to go through a lot of tactical training and dealing with building searches and different scenarios like that. And here at TownSteel, I spent a great amount of my time traveling. I just happened to be working from my home office in Kansas City the day of the Uvalde shooting. And as I was watching all of that unfold, I couldn't help but be filled with anger over the fact that we had another mass shooting going on at a school. And it caused me to start thinking about how do we protect kids and staff and even responding officers in a scenario like that? Because there has to be something better than what we had available in the marketplace. And we needed to have a solution that was cost effective for schools. Because while there was the ability to put an indicator lock on to let everyone know door status with a mortise lock, there wasn't a good solution for a cylindrical lock application. And if you have to change hardware and it also involves changing the doors, then it creates a budget issue that the schools just can't come up with the funding to deal with. As I thought about it a little bit and how ridiculous it was that we can shoot a rocket into outer space, drop it back down to Earth and catch it and use it again, it seemed a little bit ridiculous that we couldn't come up with a better way to lock doors on classrooms. And while looking at things during that time frame, I also called my wife into my office, who happened to be a teacher and a school administrator, and said, hey, we need to sit down and come up with a better solution for this. And with that, I asked her what she wanted to see on her classroom door as a teacher. So she said that she really wanted, first and foremost, not to have to walk out into the hallway and use a key to lock her classroom door. And she said she'd like to have something that was very easy for anyone in the classroom to lock, kind of like a large thumb turn on a deadbolt, because we all have those on our house, and even the kindergarten student knows how to lock and unlock the front door. And the other thing she brought up was that, if I could have an indicator on the lock that would let me know if my door was locked or not from all the way across the classroom, because the desk in the classrooms are typically in the furthest corner away from the door, then that would give her peace of mind of just being able to visually look and tell what the status of her door was. After she finished telling me that, she said, well, why don't you put your cop hat on and tell me what you want from a responding officer standpoint or a security officer in a school. And as I thought about it, I said, well, I really want the same thing that you do. I don't ever want a teacher to have to go out into an area of threat to lock their classroom door. And I really would like to have a big visual indicator on there so that if I'm a responding officer to an active shooter scenario, I don't have to go up and touch door handles to determine if a door is locked or not. I can look at it and see that visual indicator to know that I'm approaching a locked door or an unlocked door. Because if I happen to come upon an unlocked door, then I have to open that door and check that room and clear it. And if there was a big thumb turn on the inside to lock it, after I cleared that room, I could also lock it behind me when I go out and have the assurance that nobody's going to go in that room behind me. So after having that conversation and really looking at it, we decided that we should be able to come up with a way to build that lock. So on my next trip back out to California to our office, I got with Dennis Ma, who's the owner of TownSteel and also our primary engineer, and said, Dennis, we've got to come up with a solution for this. So we went through a series of trial and error with existing products to see if we could come up with a way to create that solution that we wanted, and we kept running into roadblocks with that. So we made the decision just to create a brand new lock from scratch. So that's how we came up with the design of our Aegis indicator locks for schools, specifically to go into a bored lock application. And the design that we created allows us to take off a traditional cylindrical lock, put on our new lock with only drilling a couple of small holes that don't void any fire ratings. And now we've got the benefit of having an indicator on the inside of the classroom, so students and staff know the status of their door at all times, and an indicator on the outside of the classroom so that when school resource officers are doing their daily checks, just to make sure if doors are locked or not, they can visually see that. And God forbid, in the event that there's an active shooter situation that comes up, responding officers who may have never been in that building before can determine the status of a door just by walking past and looking at the indicator on it. And all of that really came to have even more meaning with Uvalde shooting, when I read the after incident report put out by the FBI, knowing that there were some 40 plus officers standing in the hallway wanting to go in and breach that door to try to save lives of people inside that primary classroom. And it turns out they were standing around waiting for a key to a door that was unlocked.